one of the things that we talk about when we're talking about understanding your mission, I think everybody needs to realize that there is something that we have been sent here to do, something that we are called to do. But it's like, how do we really get clear about that? And so, one of the things, if you have not already walked with me, been with me through this time, is that before you can clarify what you're called to do, you have to clarify who you are. Because God is not going to give you a mission outside of how He's already wired you and what He's already pre-packed you with. So that's why I'm a big proponent of understanding your personality, your spiritual gifts, the things that you have been pre-packed with. Because why would there be an expectation for you to do something if you are not already built for that thing? And so just excited about this space and being able to clarify purpose. I think so many of us are out here trying to invent a purpose, and you can't invent it. You know what I mean? The same way that a seed came here designed to be an apple tree, I don't care how much it strains or tries to be anything other than that apple tree. At best, you can clarify, like, am I a Granny Smith apple? Am I a Washington apple? I just want to encourage, just like, we don't have to strive so much. We don't have to strive. We have to literally discover who we've already been created to be and begin to lean into that. And the beautiful thing about that is that there is no need for comparison, because literally no one else has your thumbprint, your voice print. And I know we hear these things all the time, but I think we really have to get it in our heart, because sometimes we may look at what others are doing and we're just like, man, like, I wish that was me. And the thing is, if that were you, then we wouldn't get you. And so I tell people all the time, we talk about at the Clear School, become a student of you. In school, college, whatever, they had you learning everything. But the thing is, you need to get a PhD in understanding who you are, who God made you to be, because you have this one and only life to live. And we are in a place where we need to get clear and to maximize it. And so that is my mission. It's so singular. I know there's some people, I was talking to a friend earlier, she knows that she is a Renaissance woman. Like, she is wired to be in this space and that space and doing this thing and that thing. And that's okay, because God built her for that. There is a grace for that. If you try to do something else that you are not grace for, that thing will crush you. And that's why the Bible talks about having the weight of glory. If it's going to be weighty anyway, I'd rather there be some glory attached to it. I want there to be assignment attached to it. So if I have to carry this thing anyway, at least let it be my burden. At least let it be the load that I'm designed to carry. And I know more than anything else that my mission, my mandate, is to help others clarify who they are, and why they are. And I know that I have to be more intentional about being in these spaces to share this message, because there's so many people. We know that we're meant for more. We know that we want to do more. But again, if the doing comes before the being, it's going to be inverted and it's going to be upside down every single time. There's a grace in who you are called to be. That's why when you do something, it looks as natural as breathing. Someone sees you doing that thing and they're just like, man, they make it look easy. Why is that? Because there's a grace on your life to do that thing. Now, if I go and try to do the same thing, it's going to be special. It's going to be unique, to say the least. And I'm thankful that God gives us strengths. And I'm also thankful that we get weaknesses, because if we did not have weaknesses or things that were not designed for us, we would literally feel like we could do everything. And I know that we get that banner like, I'm every woman. You know, no, I'm not every woman. I'm Tarika. And I'm here to help people understand their purpose and their identity. And that's the beauty. I don't have to be every woman. That's why God has called us to be a part of a body, because what I don't have, you have. Every gift, and I know I've talked about this quite a bit, every gift already implies that there is a need. If a teacher is needed, it's because someone is having a gap in knowledge somewhere. If mercy, encouragement is needed, it's because someone is experiencing a challenging time or discouragement in some other space. And that's why it's so important to get clear about what you carry. Because that's the only thing that God is going to make a demand on you concerning, is what have I pre-packed you with? That's what He's coming for. And so I want to encourage us to do what it takes to get clear. When you want to know what your purpose is, ask yourself, what keeps me up at night and what gets me up in the morning? If you don't get up looking forward to doing what it is that you get to do, then you may have to reinvestigate that. Because the thing is, God said that He would give us the desires of our heart. Like, He would plant a desire and a passion in our heart, because He knows that when we're passionate about something, that is something that we will go after. When you're not passionate about something, it's like, you can do it because we have skills, we have talents, there's things that we're competent in. But I say it all the time, if it doesn't move you, then it won't really move you. You can do it for a season and it'll have you thinking, okay, like I can do this or whatever. But if it doesn't light your fire, then I really just want you to just question it. Question it, because we have this one and only life. And for us to spend all this time living someone else's dream, trying to accumulate things that even when we get, we don't even really care about it. I was talking to a friend earlier and it's like, yeah, like you may say, oh man, I see this and I want the 4,000 square foot house. But I don't want to replace the 4,000 square foot roof. I don't want the utilities of the 4,000 square foot house. Like, I want to be able to leave without needing a house sitter. So we really do have to question, what is it that we really desire and what we really want? And is it coming from us or is it coming from what we have seen around us? Because I don't know about you, like I'm pretty simple and I'm pretty low maintenance. I don't need a lot of things to complicate my life. But if someone else may be looking at my life, they'll be like, oh, why doesn't she, oh, she should have, or maybe she should want, like, no. Miles Monroe said it best. The provision is there for the vision. So if you know that you are given to hospitality, it makes every bit of sense that you would want a table that sits 12 people. But why would I want a table that sits 12 people and I don't invite anybody to the house? Why do I need a 12-seat table if I'm not a host in that way? But guess what I do need? Because I'm always making books and binders, like my life comes to a halt if I run out of ink. Printer ink, paper, if my computer goes down, the world pauses. So I want to encourage you to recognize, like, the word passion in and of itself, the word passion means to suffer. Compassion means to suffer with. So your passion is something that you are willing to go through some things around, because you want to bring that clarity. You want to bring that hope to the world. This is the thing that you're like, man, why can't everyone else get this? I want everyone else to understand this. And so for those of you guys who are in my space at all, you know I use the term messenger. And when I say messenger, I'm saying those who are sealed. You are minding your own business and then you had some sort of a burning bush moment where God was saying, I heard my people's cry, go get my people. And so when you have that kind of haunting and you can't shake it even if you want to, you got to lean in. That's why they call it a calling, because it keeps calling you. So I'm just asking you, what's calling you? And be obedient to that thing, because it's for this purpose that you were sent. God is so thoughtful and intentional and purposeful. We may have had parents that had some questionable ways of raising us or whatever the case may be, but God says that you came through your parents and not from your parents. So when you realize that you were a God idea and that he said that he knit you together in your mother's womb, there's no way that you're an accident. He said, if I were to count the numbers of sand, that still would not outnumber how much and how often God thinks of you. So if he went through all of that to get you here, and not only to get you here, but to get you here in this generation, at this time, with this family, with these cousins, like, that's not happenstance and that's not accident. And so I encourage us, don't just find something to do. Don't just find a career. Don't just find a vocation. Find out who you are. Who did he make you to be? And when you find out who he's made you to be, that's going to inform what it is that you're called to do. Have you noticed that every teacher has a love for learning, always reading something, processing something, downloading something, writing something? Because guess what? That's a gift. That's a need that a teacher has. How can you be a teacher if you're not a learner? My sister is a nurse. Now, there's things that she sees and deals with as a pediatric nurse that I couldn't even begin to stomach. The sight of blood and needles and all that stuff, I'm not built for that. But you notice that true people who are in those care roles, they are usually pre-packed with those spiritual gifts of compassion and mercy and care, and they just do it like it's nothing. That's another thing too. We have to be careful, because the things that we're good at, they come so easy to us that we may look at others and say, why is it so hard for them? It's easy. Well, guess what? It's easy because God has given you a grace to carry that thing like nobody else can. That's why you can do it, and you can do it with such a grace. You don't need as much effort, as it were. But then there's others where if they tried to do that same thing, it would crush them because they weren't designed to carry that. And sometimes we're asking God, why can't I move in this way? Why can't I do this? So many times, I don't know if we realize, but sometimes he is saving us from ourselves, because he's like, daughter, son, that's not what I have for you. That's not the path that I have for you. So when doors close, don't see that as rejection. Sometimes that is absolutely redirection because that wasn't the route for us to go. So when you look at your calling journey and you look back when you were a child, I know there's some hard stuff. But what were some of the things that gave you deep joy? When you were doing this thing, I don't care if you were playing house and you were cooking and you were making all your little nieces and nephews or cousins come to your restaurant because you love cooking and you love making things. That's the beautiful thing. God hid our purpose even in our child's play. When I was younger, I was making little schools, making little books, making all my nephews and nieces, because I was older, so they had to listen, making them sit and listen to my teachings or whatever the case was. So that thread of teacher was already there. So what you're going to realize is you're not manufacturing a destiny. You can't manufacture a destiny. You can discover it because he's already seeded it into you. You already came pre-packed with purpose, and your whole mission at this point is to become a student of that, to discover that, to awaken to that, and to lean into that. Because God is only responsible for honoring the design that he gave you. And that's why identity crises are so serious. Because when you're out of identity, it doesn't really matter what you do after that point because it's going to be skewed. It's going to be a pseudo self or a pseudo copy of maybe what you were supposed to be doing. But God says you are a designer's original, and everything that is not in alignment with your design, he has to bring frustration to that or allow frustration in that, because if there wasn't frustration, then we would feel like, oh, this is easy. Like I'm just going to keep going in this direction because it's easy. But when we find ourselves in places, I don't know about you guys, but I have seen people who have dedicated 40 years to doing, and I'm not denigrating at all, like people being responsible, getting jobs in places that they needed to, but I've seen people wake up with the eyes of regret saying, man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have followed my heart as it concerns this. And so I'm just saying, when you feel that divine discontent, sometimes even like low grade depression, begin to ask yourself, is this depression inverted passion? Is there something I really desire to be doing? And what it is that I'm doing now is not representative of that. And so I just want to encourage us. I want us to really become a student of you. Literally understand your wiring, your personality, what it is that you value, because your values are not anybody else's values. Your spiritual gifts, and not just the spiritual gifts that God has given you, but how do they show up? And where do they show up? So you may have a gift of teaching and it shows up in a very structured way. So you need to be in an official classroom. Or you may be unstructured. So you may be like, hey guys, let's all just go down to the park and everybody just kind of sitting at a bench and you just start teaching in that way. So not everything is this formal programmatic vision. So again, how has he wired you to show up? And then the ministry passion area, where has he wired you to show up? So again, yeah, I love teaching. But is that everyone, everywhere? No. I'm really finding that I enjoy teaching those who are ready to wake up to who they are. I enjoy teaching primarily like women who are in the second season of life. You've raised your babies and now you're almost empty nest and you're kind of saying, okay, now what, Lord? My whole life was surrounded around getting kids to practice, getting them here, getting them there, taking care of this and taking care of that. And now I have this sense that there is more. How do we discover the more? I'm telling you, that discontent that you feel, that, this ain't it, don't treat that as an enemy. That's a gift. It makes us say, I need to get curious about what else it is that I'm supposed to be learning, exploring, and doing. That's one of the reasons that I created the I Am workbook, because my whole thing is don't leave your life up for chance. We have to take ownership of becoming a student of who God has made us to be. Like, why do I come alive in this way? Why, when I was watching that movie, was I in tears and saying, man, I wish I could do that or be more of that? Just start paying attention to all the clues, because I'm telling you, they're giving you some insight into who God has called you to be. I'm telling you, if you're seeing life in shades of gray, that's not what he has for you. In living color. Another thing, as it regards your purpose, it is always going to be other-centered. Your purpose is always going to be about what you bring to the potluck, who you're called to reach. And other people's purpose is going to be about reaching you. So we don't get left out in this situation. If you have a goal is, I want to have this much wealth. I want to build these many followers. That's a goal. That's fine. But a mission is always something that you are sent to do, somebody you are sent to reach. So let's not get that part twisted, okay? There's always going to be someone else on the receiving end of our purpose. Your purpose is meant for your discovery. It's not meant for you to manufacture. So that's the beautiful thing, that you've already been given what you need to become and to do what God has called you to become and do. But the beautiful thing is, he knows that by nature, we like a challenge. There's a reason when we're watching a movie that we like for there to be some sort of origin story, some sort of conflict, some sort of battle, some sort of recognizing of who you are, and then resolution. So it's not going to come without straining. The same reason they say don't help a chicken out of an egg, because if you do, it's not going to have the strength that it needs to live. And that's why no one else can really tell you who you are. There's things that people can encourage you in. There's things that people can say, I see this in you. But you and God have to confirm that thing. Because you are his idea. You are his child. And he knows exactly why he sent you. And why he sent you in this generation. David said, I serve the Lord in my own generation. Because how many of you guys know, like what we're doing now by way of technology and all this stuff, that wouldn't have worked in the 70s. So every generation has different tools and resources to work with to carry out who God has called them to be. These babies come out now like 6 months old, knowing how to swipe and load and turn off and power up and do face recognition. Like they're going to be on a whole other level. And so we want to be able to encourage that. And also for you parents on here, it's important for us to know, even concerning our kids too, that they're not ours in that sense, that they came through us, but they are also a God idea. And so as much as we may want to have an agenda for them, we have to begin to pay attention to the clues of who they are, how they're wired. Are they curious? Are they imaginative? Are they spontaneous? Are they always talking? Are they super creative? Like, definitely don't pit them against siblings. Because again, if someone is exactly like someone else, then one of them is unnecessary. So we don't want to put that weight even on our children of why can't you be more like? The biggest thing is, how can we help you be more like who you are designed to be? So it's important to expose them to opportunities, to help them meet their people, meet their tribe, and that kind of thing. Because the more we interact with others, it introduces even more into ourselves. So I know that I have some friends that are God sent. And when they have conversations with me, when they interact with me, they begin to unlock things in me. But understand, unlock things in me. They're not putting things in me. They're unlocking the treasure that's already been placed inside of me. So that's the beautiful thing. When we watch a movie or we travel or we go places or we go to retreats, and all of a sudden it's almost like there's these other levels that are opened up for us. And that's beautiful, right? Because we're not called in isolation. You'll hear people say things like, oh, just do you, as if you can do you in isolation. Imagine a hand saying, I'm just going to do me. What good is a hand if it's not attached to the wrist? If it's not attached to the arm? So if we don't realize that who we are is absolutely interconnected with those that are around us, we're going to miss it. The minute you take a branch off a tree or a limb off of a body, it's going to die because it's not meant to live in isolation. Every gift that you have is meant to benefit someone. So don't ever get it twisted. What you have is needed. And sometimes we're thinking like, I know I'm called to reach the masses. This is what I'm learning. People are so valuable that if you honor the one person that's in front of you, they're attached to the masses. So don't ever feel because you don't have a billion followers or this or that or whatever. I'm telling you, when you spend time with that niece or nephew, when you invest in that cousin, when you show up for someone, you are allowing them to experience a different dimension even of who they are. So let's not miss the life that's happening right in front of us, trying to get to a life that we envision one day. Because the life that we're living today is the day that's getting us to the day that is in the future. I am excited about having another outlet to just share these identity and purpose discussions and just helping us to get clear. Because when we're clear, we have a sense of what we should do next or who we should be talking to next. I don't care if you feel like you've said it 1,000 times. God will give you 1,000 more different ways to say it. Anybody care to share their mission statement? Well, let me just put it this way. You know you have a mission statement when it's clear enough for a 10-year-old to understand. A lot of times when we have people who are talking about their mission is too generic, they'll say things like, "Oh, I want to reach people." Okay, which people? What people? What age range? In the city, in the country, where? So every mission has a who attached to it. So I'm asking you guys again, who, how, and why? Why do you want to reach these people? If you were a superhero and you had to put on a cape, who would you be coming to save? Because I know a lot of times, like, I just want to help people. But I'm saying when you get specific, it's almost like a laser beam. A laser beam of light can cut through steel. Whereas when you just turn on a light in a room, it lights it up, but it's diffused light. So your mission is going to have more of a laser beam effect. You're going to know who you're called to serve. You don't want your mission statement to be too vague. I just want to reach youth. Do you want to reach youth in the foster system? Do you want to reach youth who are going the sports route? Do you want to reach youth who are dealing with autism? So do you begin to see the more specific you get, the more you can laser in on the mission and the work that it is that you want to do. So I want to encourage you to get specific. A mission is not self-serving. Again, a mission is what you're sent to do. So if you're sent somewhere, usually there's going to be a beneficiary of others who are on the other side of that. I'm telling you, I get a chance to do life with some really dynamic people, and I don't take that for granted. I don't take it for granted. And the thing about being surrounded by dynamic people is you are around purpose and vision talk all the time. So sometimes you take it for granted. I don't take it for granted. Sometimes everything is not about this big, massive platform. It's what people do in front of the scenes, behind the scenes, nudging people forward, encouraging, supporting. All of that is helping us become who we were designed to be. Until next time, make it a great day.